Welcome everybody to today's live webinar session. Today's session, we're going to simplify the concept or the conversation around sharing data. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. First and foremost, please use the chat function. We do not have live Q&A enabled. We're going to be using the chat function today. So please use the chat function. Depending on the question, depending on when it comes up, we'll go ahead and ask the question live, or we'll hold the question at the end, depending on the topic. I'm joined today with Mandeep. Mandeep is our network software architect, or I guess I should say one of our network software architects. Sorry about that. Mandeep, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to be here, Blaise.
Awesome. So my name is Blaise Brady. I'm one of the channel sales folks here at Graphiant. Let's go ahead and get started and start talking about what we're going to be covering today. All right. So why are we even here? What is B2B Data Exchange? Why are we even talking today? Well, the general reason, or the main reason we're talking today, is because VPN is having its birthday this year. VPN technology was invented in 1996, 30-year-old technology. So it's kind of crazy to think about the fact that other things that were invented 30 years ago, like StarTech phones, and I think DVD players were invented 30 years ago. Couple of things that are like literally gone, literally, not used any longer, but yet we're still asking enterprises, we're also asking financial organizations, healthcare organizations, government organizations to use 30-year-old technology. I'm not going to read every single bullet on this slide, but the thought process is that if you're not talking to your customers about replacing VPN technology with something better, they don't know something is better, but yet they struggle with this every day. As a matter of fact, I didn't know that much about VPN before this call. So in preparation, I went to AI. I said, hey, AI, tell me more about VPN. That's why I learned the 30-year thing. I also learned, according to AI, that it takes people, and this is IT professionals, right? It takes a network engineer or a network architect 90 minutes to 2 hours, somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours, to set up a VPN tunnel. And in that same, AI, breakdown, it referenced, because AI will have a little reference of where it comes from. It referenced an article that I read, and it talked about a university, a college, that they have a window set up between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. once a week to do VPN maintenance. So they're literally choosing a time outside of normal work hours to do VPN maintenance. The reason why this is important, the reason why that we're talking about this, is that there's a better way for you to show your customers. It's a better way for you to get involved, be a thought leader, and show them that there's something better. All right. So to that point, what does B2B Data Exchange do? Why would a customer want it over a VPN tunnel? And it's a very simple thought process: merger and acquisition, partner connectivity, cloud migration. Anytime an organization is looking to enable something outside of their four walls, they want to do it securely, they want to do it with reliability, and they want to do it quickly. Unfortunately, as that old, there used to be, I remember my father-in-law used to have like a sign in his garage: I can do it fast, I can do it cheap, or I can do it well, but I can't do all three, right? And that's what VPN's doing. VPN might be doing it cheap, but it's definitely not doing it fast and well. VPN might do some things well, but it's not doing it fast. It's not doing it easy, right? Customers are taking time, days, weeks, to onboard these solutions, and the business pays the price. People often say that, the IT organization is a cost center. So how can an IT organization reduce cost? Well, they can cut heads, and they can reduce their spend, but the best way they can cut cost is giving time back to the business, so the business can be more profitable. All right, so we're going to talk a lot today about Graphiant Data Exchange, and that's why I brought Mandeep on, because he's much smarter than I am. So Mandeep, I'm going to tap on you for a second here. Tell us why would a customer and or a partner want to shift to Graphiant Data Exchange as opposed to VPN?
That's Blaise throwing me under the bus. So I'll do my best, Blaise. So let's talk about, I'll touch base on all the points that you've raised, but the three pillars that the Graphiant Data Exchange addresses is security right from the outset. because when you're exchanging data with other organization or partner organization or acquisitions, the regulatory requirements are such that you must keep that separation and secure. The other one is reliability. Now you can map that into the high availability. That's a key pillar for us. The third one is the data assurance. And it's not just assurance, us telling you, hey, your data is going to go from here to there, but we will not only tell you the data is going to go from here to there, but also go via these nodes that you've chosen to send it and avoid all the routes that you choose not to. And hopefully by the end of this, I'll be able to demonstrate how you can save OpEx for the customer, because it's not just the 90 minutes to 2 hours that Blaise mentioned, it's all the headache that goes along with maintaining those tunnels and maintaining those VPN connection and the lack of dynamic nature of those. So hopefully we can talk about some of that towards the end. That's my take on that, Blaise.
Yeah, no, that's great. And the thing that I heard as you were speaking, that there's 4 pillars that we talk about this a lot at Graphiant, right? When we have all hands calls and we're talking as a team. But the 4 pillars in this thought process are apparent, which is speed, security, policy, and visibility, right? And the reason why those are so important is because when you're talking to a CIO, a CTO, a CISO, even a CFO or CEO, they want to make sure that those 4 things are prevalent. And the one that I think is often missed by a lot of other solutions is that visibility, right? The ability to see and verify the solution's doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? So let's talk a little bit about the stateless core and why is it so important. So again, Mandeep, I'm gonna tap on you. Why is this important? Why is the policy at the edge and why is this heavy lifting so important?
So when we say stateless core, what we mean is typically in a service provider MPLS network, there is inherent customer route knowledge inside of the core. We do not maintain any customer knowledge. It's end-to-end secure that a customer manages themselves. And the 4th pillar that Blaise sort of alluded to, I don't want to mention it because I want you to see it live, which is the ease of use. So you do not need to be a network expert, security expert, because that is inherently provided by the Graphiant stateless core. And when we say security, we're actually very serious. It's post-quantum cryptography, end-to-end, all with a click of a button. So the idea behind stateless core is none of your routes get leaked. The core is able to, using Graphiant technology, get you from A to B, wherever that B happens to be. If B moves to another location, you do not have to do anything. You don't have to negotiate change window. It all is taken care of by the stateless core. And that's all magic of the stateless core that Graphiant provides.
Yeah, and we're going to get into the demo in 2 more slides. I definitely talk about a little more customer use case in a second, but I also want everyone on the call listening and reminding you of a concept that Mandeep just brought up, PQC, post-quantum cryptography. If you're not familiar with PQC or post-quantum cryptography, Google it, search it, use your favorite search engine or AI engine, and ask about PQC. And if you don't find it automatically, there's even a government regulation, a new federal regulation coming down the pike. Think HIPAA compliance, think PCI compliance, but now PQC compliance is coming down. That if you're not talking to your customers about PQC, don't worry, your competition is, right? So they'll be taken care of either by you or by somebody else. All right, so speaking of customers, what are customers going to experience? Here's the proof points, real life scenarios of that B2B data exchange really makes a big difference, right? So what we have seen multiple times is we've seen supply chain cost reductions. We've seen cost reduction, of course, of the solution. And then the most important thing, the thing that really, again, shifts the IT organization from a cost environment to a revenue generating environment is that by doing this, customers can have same day M&A on ramp, right? How many times have you heard, I've experienced it myself, right? I think I've been through 3 mergers and acquisitions, maybe 4 now. And the first, they make the announcement, they have the cake, they blow up the balloons, they blow out the candle, and then they talk about, well, we're going to do, business as usual for the next 3 months, business as usual for the next 6 months, business as usual for the next 9 months. The reason why they're doing that is because it's not because the sales teams can't talk to each other. It's not because, two leaders can't get along. It's because the data and the exchange of data between, the acquired organization and the acquiring organization can't seamlessly integrate. They're taking those hours and weeks and months to set up all that data exchange. Imagine a customer being able to do that in a matter of moments. And additionally, you can see the other things on here about partner onboarding. Think about, a bank, or think about a financial organization that's starting to use a new credit card processing software, or maybe a healthcare organization that's starting to use a new medical device. Onboarding that connectivity, onboarding that solution in a matter of moments. All right, so in just about one more slide here, I'm going to hand it off to Mandeep, and I'm going to ask Mandeep to go through the live demo. But as we go through the live demo, there's like 6 things I want you to listen for. I'm not going to read all 6 things. I'll encourage you, if you're watching this recording, pause the recording and read each of these 6 things. If you're watching it live and you're going through the chat here, a couple things I want you to really focus on. Number 1, the simplicity. How easy it is for Mandeep to walk us through this process. How we also show some of the best practices around security. How do we, accelerate merger and acquisition? And then, of course, reducing the overall complexity while still improving the security, or those sort of key thought processes that I really want you to focus on. All right. Before we get into the demo, Mandeep, I know you wanted to sort of set the table for us. So please tell us.
I know folks have had experience with multi-vendor solutions, so I want to set my stall here and explain some key concepts before I go into the demo. So we have the notion of producers and consumers. Now, I hear you ask, well, if you're talking about a peering service, who's the producer, who's the consumer? So what we really mean by a producer is someone who has admin rights for this data exchange domain that is set up with other consumers. You don't need to be a routing expert on this call. You definitely do not need to worry about NAT. Is it one-to-one? Is it DNAT? Where is it happening? These are all, the reason I bring these to your attention is because these are OpEx heavy costs. You save all of this by not worrying about them. Security policies. I mentioned security as one of our key pillars. So again, with data exchange, all of that gets taken care of. You only exchange what you have intended to exchange. You do, however, need to know your business logic. Now, by business logic, you could be a healthcare, you could be a defense, you could be a financial customer. You still need to know internals of your network. What are you willing to share with somebody? And hopefully, by the end of it all, I can demonstrate how many fewer touch points that a company has to have in their IT organization, in their security organization, and directly results in OpEx savings, not when you're provisioning, but also maintaining all of that as new customers come on board. And to that end, sorry, Blaise, yes, go ahead.
No, I know you, we'll jump to the next slide, but before you jump to the next slide, actually a chat came in while you were talking. Maybe it came in earlier, but I was busy, speaking, so I didn't see it right away. The question was, how do I show this to customers? This is a great, this is interesting to me, and it sounds like VPN, I'm paraphrasing. It sounds like VPN is not a great fit, but how do I show this to customers? So the 2 things that I'll mention, and Mandeep, please feel free to chime in if there's else that you want to share. First and foremost, our team is a sell with organization. We would love to get on a call with you and your customer or prospect and walk them through B2B data exchange. The second thing is, Mandeep, is there an easier way or a faster way that, they could of course see this recording, but is there anything else that the customer might, the partner might be able to share with their customer?
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, we're always at hand to demonstrate not only the simple way of provisioning this, but if they want to get into a detailed discussion, a technical discussion, we can do that. But more to the point, there are monitoring pages that we can show. We talk about visibility, but this is where you really get the power of the solution. You're a customer. You want to demonstrate how many other consumers I've got, who's consuming what, where they're consuming from, how the data is flowing. All of that can be demonstrated, and that brings in the whole visibility and the assurance aspect of it. So we'd love to get on a phone call or a meeting with you guys, with your customer, and be able to demonstrate all of that goodness. Of course, we're time bound today on this webinar, so we'll show you the best we can. And Blaise is already putting me under pressure that I have to do that 90 minutes to 2-hour task in 5 minutes. So I'll do my best.
Yes, awesome. So Jason, that you asked that question. Please reach out to the team. We'll be happy to set something up. All right, Mandeep, last slide that you want to talk about, and then the live demo.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Graphiant Global, Graphiant as an orchestrator has its own customers. We refer to them as tenants. You'll see tenant XYZ, but you can also onboard yourself as an MSP because you have third-party customers of your own, which you want to maintain the relationship, and you do not want Graphiant to get involved. Then you can become an MSP who manages the customer relationship. They can be Graphiant customers or they can be third-party customers. And what we'll show with this demo is the harder side of it, where you go into a brownfield site and not everyone's a Graphiant customer, how they can still use the Graphiant capability and still get all the visibility that they need. So what we'll tackle is where Graphiant CorpNet is the MSP, then it's got a Graphiant client which hosts the crown jewels that they're willing to share, and then the CorpNet proxy that you see, which is it could be a service integrator or it could be yourself that are managing the third-party connections. So with that in mind, Blaise, I know you won't mind if I take over the screen from you. So let me just go ahead and do that. So this is the Graphiant MSP. So I talk about an MSP, you're managing your own relationship. Now within that Graphiant MSP, I've got Graphiant as the producer. So, and then ProxyNet, which is managing the third party. Why do we keep that separation? We keep that separation because your internal crown jewels must be completely isolated from any interaction with a third party customers. So first, what we'll do is we'll go into the Graphiant producer. So I'll switch account. Now, typically, you will get your own login for each tenant under an MSP. And by the way, whatever I show in UI is all automated using playbooks. So IT organization love that because they can integrate that. Nobody has to sit there with clickety-click. It's all done in a scripted manner for you. So we'll go ahead and start clock ticking, 5 minutes I've got to demonstrate this. So data exchange, partner services, I go in there. Very first thing, I want to create a service. Let's create a service. It's going to be a peer-to-peer. We also have a client server where it's a hub and spoke type model, but what we'll do is peer-to-peer because we'd like to demonstrate the difficult side of things first. Go into next. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call this Demo London because that's where I'm from. Description, ABC. LAN segment, right. Where are my crown jewels located? They're located in a VRF. We call them LAN segment because in Graphiant Stateless Core, a VRF spans your whole global network footprint. Wherever your devices are present, if you've got a VRF LAN 1 demo, it can potentially participate. So we choose LAN 1 demo. Now I can choose which sites are participating. So you can have any number of sites. So if you have more than one site, you obviously get not only high availability at a given site, but you also get it cross sites. So think of hyperscalers having different regions. You can enable that yourself. So I'm going to choose the site as San Jose. And then this is where the business logic comes in. So please ignore the fact that this is IP prefixes, but network organization will know straight away that this is their network that they're willing to share with others. And I'm going to call this crown jewels because these are my crown jewels that I'm sharing with others, but in a secure manner. Click next, have a quick review that I haven't mistyped anything, and create service. So that's your service created. Nothing done so far. All I've done is exhibit my intent. I am now going to create a customer. Now, you can have a database of X customers, and then you can match them to your service. You can have multiple services, multiple customers, and you can do that cross-connect, not creating multiple tunnels. So we're going to choose the harder one, brownfield site, which is what majority of you will be tackling. Click on next. I'm going to give this customer a name. I'm going to call him Mandeep. I'm going to use an email for Mandeep. Now, bear in mind, this is your end user's email. So if I was a financial financial customer, my customers could be Bank of America, Santander, HSBC, you name it. So that would be their email. And you will see why that email comes in handy at the end. I'm going to let them consume this service from 2. Heck, I'm generous today. 2 sites they can consume this service from. Click next. have a quick review, create customer. Now, as a producer, I've got a customer, I've got a service. I want to marry the two up. So I'm going to match this service to a customer. So what is the service that I want Mandeep to consume? I want Mandeep to consume demo LAN, sorry, because that's where the crown jewels are located. And then this is the other business logic. Now, this is the customer's business logic. Customer says, I want to come in with some private address. And some of you may have noticed that this is the same address as crown jewels, but that's okay. I, as a producer, now get to decide, hey, I know you're going to come in with the overlapping address of my network, but I'm going to represent you as something else. This is the merger and acquisition. Think of B2B data exchange. Everyone has their own network. You can't govern what they do, but you can govern how you exchange data. So I'm going to choose to represent demo LAN Mandeep as this address. That's all. I promise you that's all you have to do. As a producer, I am done. I can go home, have a cup of tea, and that customer does not need to negotiate a change window with me. They can come in anytime they like. So I'm now going to pretend that I am that service integrator I talked about that manages the proxy relationship. So I now need to be somehow invited. I get an email, I accept the invitation, and voila, I get some verbiage here to say you're accepting this service. I say get started. Yes, it's come from Corporate Administration, and it has all the details around the service. And then this is the service that's coming in. And I say, hey, I don't like that because this is now a customer saying, I don't like that because it overlaps with me. So they get to decide independently of me how they want me to be represented in their network. So I do that. This just tells me, yeah, they entered my network's information correctly. Click next. And then where do I want to consume this service? I want to consume this service in a new LAN segment. Because I want to assign this customer to a LAN segment. So I say demo 1 London. And then I say save. Thank you very much. Where do I want to consume this? This is where you would need to define upfront your gateways, where you define your LAN segment. Where do I want to consume it? And then you choose your gateway site, click on next, and Bob's your uncle. Everything you've done up until now, you choose your sites. Your sites have to be provisioned upfront. And once you've chosen those sites, your service is now fully on live. And the end customer will get that email once all the necessary devices have been fully provisioned. Now I'm going to give you a sneak preview into, I don't have a whole lot of time, but I will give you a sneak preview into something that you can expect. So I will, in here, I'm under Graphiant Inc. and I'm going to go to my MSP and I'm going to go to Graphiant MSP. And what I want to show you is how my services are then exchanged. So remember, I was Graphiant. I had some services that I had set up front. And in those services, what I would like to show you is how those services are consumed. So I go into Partner Services, CorpNet Service. So let's go in here. And there you go. There are some users in here. Let's look at some details. And you start to see who's doing the most work. It looks like Norris and Carmen are doing a lot of work, not a whole lot of others. And they can tell you exactly how they're consuming their service. They're coming in from Seattle, they're coming in from San Jose, and they're getting the CorpNet access. You can get a reverse view, but you get the idea. And then here you can go deeper into individual flows, and that's the key. What we show you here is all the compliance related information that you need. Now I've gone a tad over time, 2 minutes, but hopefully it's cut down from 2 hours and all the headache that comes along with provisioning VPN tunnels.
Awesome, Mandeep. Thank you so much. The couple items that I want to reiterate, and I know, for the partner audience out there, when you're making a promise to your customer, right? When you have that loyalty to the outcome, this is what they want to talk about. They want to talk about, of course, the innate, security of it, but hopefully the speed. I mean, I know Mandeep, of course, has been working at Graphiant for a long time, but hopefully you saw how quickly and easily, the speed of the process And then, of course, the control and the visibility that the organization can verify that we're sharing the data, we're sharing it from A to B, who's consuming that data. And again, and just in case it wasn't crystal clear, the only one end of this string has to be a Graphiant customer, right? So your customer is a medical manufacturer. They need to, they need to be able to share data with all the hospitals and clinics that are using that device. Or your customer is a financial organization, and they need to share that data across, across multiple partners. All of those partners, 10 partners, 20 partners, 30 partners, they don't have to become Graphiant customers. Now, of course, I would love it if they became Graphiant customers. That's you and I work together and make it happen. But if they don't become Graphiant customers, they can still consume that data seamlessly. They get that email, they get the email invite, please consume the data here. They click accept, they go through a couple of processes, but where they want to see it in their environment, right? How they want that to be visualized, and easy peasy lemon squeezy, they're off and running. So, Mandeep, I definitely appreciate your time. You have something else to add?
I do. I just want to give you a quick update on a most recent customer of ours. We ran a POC with them, and they presented their test plan, and they said it will take a month. And we said, we think we can do it in a lot less. And they were shocked that they went through the whole test plan within a week, and they wanted another week just to make sure they have covered everything. And in the next couple of days, they came back and said, yep, this is all working. So this really is, you have to taste it to believe it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, and that, what the other thing you didn't maybe hear, I want to pick up on, proof of concept, proof of value. We're happy to work with you. We're happy to show the customer, let them experience the solution firsthand. So, Mandeep, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you, viewing this recording, we're definitely going to report this recording in all the TSD back offices. Please feel free to share this with your peers, share this with customers, share this with anyone else in the organization. Mandeep, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Blaise.